Knight Rider won't be seen tonight, so we can bring you a very special episode of The Gen X Files. Welcome to The Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today it's another little For the Stepdads. Yeah, we're wrapping up our second annual Spooktober.
Yeah.
It was super fun.
Yeah.
I love those movies. I was thinking about them, and we had spoken a little bit about how, the 70s was the lumbering silent killer,
Yeah.
and then the 80s was more of the Gabby killer. And
It's very true. Yeah.
what was funny is the first Nightmare on Elm Street, I wouldn't say that Freddy was funny. Like, there wasn't as many quips. He didn't become like the quipster until like the second or third.
No.
It was more like, He was still menacing. And the great thing about Chucky and Freddy is they were both funny but scary. And that's the combo. You got to have your scary if you're going to be funny.
Right. Right.
So it's like when, 1 minute he's like, come to Freddy. And then the next minute he's ripping his face off, So
Yeah.
And same with Chucky. It's like Chucky's, will make some quip and then, do that weird Goonie doll run with the knife. And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, he was the same way, because in the first Child's Play, it wasn't as much of the quippy quip.
No.
It was like, I need to get back into a human body. And then, and then it just became like, all right, it's joke time.
But there's also an inherent humor to a tiny little doll that you could probably kick away.
Of course.
Being so menacing to make that thing, and it's a goofy looking doll too. It's not like a super scary looking doll, which is great that they took a very innocuous kind of generic
doll.
He
looked like he could have been picked up in 1985.
Could have been your buddy.
Been your buddy. My buddy.
But what I was thinking of is that if they would have done what they wanted to do with Hellraiser, which was redub Pinhead's voice as an American,
right,
they would have probably added those dumb quips.
Yes.
And that doesn't work with Pinhead. Pinhead
No.
is smart. He's snide.
Yeah.
But he's Hannibal Lecter. I mean, he's smart and scary, and the things he says, it's just like, that doesn't work with them.
No.
But it was a different kind of talky villain, and that, that was used to great effect to keep, to enhance the fright.
Very spooky and very eerie and unsettling, very unsettling.
Yeah.
Until they got to Hellraiser Revelation, where he was just Mr. Jokester and was constantly. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
No,
I didn't watch any of the sequels.
They changed the origin story. He was a comic called Polly the Pinhead, and he used to put pins in his head and be like, "Oh, jeez,
oh, it hurts so much."
But what's funny is the '90s kind of went back to the silent killer, and then it was the victims that became more quippy. And because if you look at Scream, there's a lot.
True.
Or I still know what you did last summer.
I know what you did last summer.
I still know was the sequel.
The sequel. I still
know.
I know what you did last summer was definitely the lumbering, and they were. You're right. I mean,
but it was the victims that became.
They were more like, I'm going to be sarcastic and goofy and.
Yeah, they were the stars. So it was basically you had a bunch of really good-looking teen TV stars at the time,
so many
quipping at each other and being funny, and then getting murdered by their peers.
Yeah, or an
old fisherman,
in a trench coat
with a hook.
I really liked. I know what you did last summer, and then it got really bad really fast.
Yeah, one of my favorite. I don't remember which scary movie it was, but they parodied. I know what you did last summer, and it's the scene where the girl is watching her boyfriend be killed, and she's doing the talent aspect of her beauty pageant.
Right.
And they did such a great parody of that. But
the whole Scary Movie, I think it was the original Scary Movie, was so good.
Oh, and Anna Faris.
The picture with everyone just kept screaming in his tiny little wiener.
Yeah.
It was so great.
Come on, what are you doing?
It's not that bad.
So good.
Anyway.
Good. But it was really fun to watch these movies.
I was encouraged. I literally sat down and watched all 7 Child's Play movies.
Oh, nice.
And then watched the series, mainly because I wanted to watch the series because it had such high praise.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting. I liked Child's Play 2 a lot more than I thought I remembered. And 3, actually. But 2 I thought was really good.
Yeah.
And then they just got weird and goofy. And
well, that's it. I mean, there's diminishing returns because it just becomes a commodity. It just becomes, It's like the McRib. It's going to come out every year, and it's not good for you.
Well,
you know?
it was weird because they stretched over such a long period of time, and the fact that it was all Don Mancini because he wrote all of them, and eventually he ended up directing all of them after. I want to say the one with the kid, Seed of Chucky. I think he started directing it, and then which was just weird. But then there was a long period, and it kind of went back around and became kind of a horror, less comedy, more horror again.
Yeah.
Which then led into the show, which is a blend of it and works really well.
Yeah, it's really the Child's Play series is really good.
Yeah,
I think it's underrated.
Yeah, agreed.
In terms of a series, it's one of the best because, as great as Nightmare on Elm Street is.
Yeah.
The sequels aren't really that good.
No.
New Nightmare is really interesting. I'm going to watch that again maybe tonight. I wanted to watch it before the show, but I wanted to check out a couple of new stuff.
I don't think I've ever actually seen New Nightmare.
You should check. Maybe we'll watch it.
Yeah, let's watch it together, or movie night.
For movie night because it's we need to watch a spook because it's almost Halloween.
Coming up.
I just wanted to mention too, what a fun week we had. I started with a friend of the show, Luis Reyes.
Yeah.
We started a storytelling show called Barfly Storytelling Hour at the Three Clubs bar in Los Angeles. And it was really fun, and Adam was one of the storytellers.
I don't remember telling my story. But
it was great. But the most fun part about it was Adam's parents were in town.
Yeah.
And they got to see the show. And
it's the first time they ever saw me perform.
Yeah, and you told a filthy, filthy story.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine. I was just sitting there thinking, if I told that story to my parents, my mom would disown me.
Beforehand, I had to keep reiterating to them, this did not happen to me. I was just an observer. It did not happen to me.
It was a great story. But a really great night, and it was really fun to... We sat around. It's so great. When I went to visit my family in Texas, we sat around and played Farkle.
Yeah.
And then when your folks came out, Farkle is the perfect family game. I'm telling you, if you want to have peace and fun with your family... Grab you can even make your own. I don't want to
you just need
cut
dice.
out the profits for the Farkle Company because they definitely deserve it.
Farkle Company,
the Farkle Inc.
Farkle Unlimited. Yeah,
but it's such a fun, easy game to learn, and it's just all luck. And it's a blast.
6 dice. You need 6 dice in the rule. You can look up the rules online. That's it.
6 nice dice in the rules. But anyway. Farkle. It'll solve your family problems.
It's really funny because growing up, we always played Uno, but now it's all Farkle all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Played a lot of different stuff. My sister and I played board games.
Yeah.
Monopoly and Life.
I love
careers.
Yeah. Life is so good.
Yeah. Risk. Let's just name board games.
Board games, yeah. Strategio.
So I just want to shout out to your parents. It was so much fun to see them.
Yeah, it was good for them
awesome.
to come out. Yeah.
I'm trying to get your dad to get a Mini Cooper.
Oh, he will. He will.
I'm nudging him.
It's going to happen. Once the market's right, he'll.
He had a fun time driving the
little Mini Cooper.
Driving the Mini. We finally got it back from the shop.
Yeah.
Another story.
Yeah.
So I wanted to check out some of the new stuff before we did the show.
Yeah.
So I watched the new Hellraiser.
Yeah. Thumbs up, thumbs down?
Kind of thumbs in the middle.
Sideways?
Yeah. It started out pretty promising and interesting.
Yeah.
The lead actor, she's pretty cool, and I like... His name is like Goran Viznik. I can't...
Oh, Goran Viznik or something? Yeah,
I really enjoyed him. He was on ER. He's a really good actor.
Yeah. He is really good. Yeah.
He was good, but it just kind of turned into this thing that just wasn't as interesting as the original. Like the original had that psychosexual weird. What it needed was Skinless Frank. It didn't have, it's like Goran was kind of the Skinless Frank in a way, but
not really.
No, it was basically be careful what you wish for, and it just kind of became less and less interesting.
This wasn't based on the original story.
No,
this is just
not
a
at
separate whatever featuring characters from the Cenobites or whatever.
Yeah, so you had Pinhead, and she was great. The actor who played Pinhead was, they were all the Cenobites, the Cinnabons.
Cinnabons.
The chattery guy was great. There was a little bit. They took a little bit of the mystique off of them. A little bit of the.
Explain a little too much.
I think so, and I don't know. It just kind of devolved into whatever. It didn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was just kind of okay. It was just kind of bland.
Okay. I'm still gonna check it out. I'm curious, just because I liked the original much more than I remembered. So like I do want to check it out.
It wasn't bad, and it was definitely better than some of the sequels that came out. And it was
not difficult.
Exactly. And it was interesting to see them doing something new, and it had some really good actors. There were some actors that I'd recognized before that I really liked that were in it, and they did some interesting stuff. But it's worth a watch. But don't get your hopes up, and you'll enjoy it.
It's always really nice to see actors that you're like, oh, yeah, this person's still working. That's great.
Yeah, yeah. And on the flip side, last night I watched Barbarian.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not going to say a word about it.
No,
because the less you know going in, the better. But that was great. It was done by the guy that did It, I believe.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Somebody involved with It. I don't know if it was the director or not. But was
it Stephen King?
It was Stephen King, but it definitely had a Stephen King vibe. Oh, 100%.
Okay.
And I gotta give some love to Justin Long. And I was thinking about that. I was having a very retrospective morning today, thinking about things, and I was thinking about him as well. And what an incredible guy. He started out being the lovable nerd and loser and stuff like Galaxy Quest, and there was a couple other things.
Yeah.
He played
some weird teen comedy kind of things.
Yeah, where he was just kind of the, he was great at that. And then he segued into kind of romantic comedies and being the romantic lead. I think doing Dodgeball with... what's that swingers guy's name? I always forget. Vince Vaughn. I think he got a little Vince Vaughn-y because they became friends, and a little bit of that rubbed off.
Yeah.
And in a good way, good way, and gave him the edge to be, to do the romantic comedy with Drew Barrymore.
Right.
And now he's transitioned into just playing the best douche. He's so good at douching it.
Yeah.
And he knows it too. He leans in to the douche. But his character is reprehensible, but you can't help but kind of like, that's the beauty of him, is he's got the charm to question, like, oh, is he? Oh, it's just so good, and I got to give him love. And the actor, I don't remember her name, unfortunately. I think she's a newcomer.
Okay,
she was awesome. The Skarsgård kid from It.
Oh, yeah.
He's great. It was a really fun, surprising, it had some great scares.
Nice.
I can't recommend it enough. It's one of the best horror movies I've seen in a while.
Okay, good.
Really good. I started watching, I didn't finish it.
Barbarian is streaming on HBO Max.
Just started.
Yeah.
And it's in the theaters too right now too.
It still is.
If you want to go hit the old theater. And I would definitely recommend seeing that with an audience. That would have been fun to experience that with an audience, because there's a lot of twists and turns and stuff that I think would be fun to experience in a group. I watched a little bit of Grim Cuddy.
Okay.
Which is another horror film. It's kind of cool because it's this internet meme that kind of comes to life type of thing, but it's more the parents' paranoia and fear. It's got this underlying kind of, McMartin-y kind of thing going.
McMartin-y?
Like the McMartin trial, the Satan.
Sorry.
Satanic Panic.
Like, what are you talking about? Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about the McMartin trial and all that so many times.
You're right.
It's my shorthand, but it's got that kind of like parental paranoia aspect to it that makes it really interesting.
I will say that I haven't watched it yet, but it's available on Hulu, and just the still they have does not make me want to watch it at all.
Oh, yeah. The Grim Cuddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, the creature looks like some sort of twisted... It's like if Gru from Minions came to life and had a super creep face.
It just isn't... To me, it just wasn't a good promotional tool towards wanting to watch it, because I had no idea what it was about.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it was a horror movie. Like, it seems like Hulu does it a lot, where they don't really know how to promote their stuff.
Right.
But maybe I'll check it out. I kind of like that weird, the internet stuff. God, what was that movie? The movie that was all shot from the laptops and stuff that was done really well.
They
had a sequel to it too, but I don't remember what it's called, but it was
Zoom the movie.
Yeah, Zoom the movie. It came out a while ago, but it was really good.
Unfriended,
Unfriended. Right? There you go. Yeah, it was really good, and like the internet stuff is interesting. Like I'm very fascinated with internet mythologies and things that have popped up in the last like 10, 12 years.
Well, this is kind of a takeoff on the whole Slender Man.
Yeah.
Mythos.
Yeah.
All the kids being weirded out about that, and but that's the thing. The Slender Man and all this stuff are just evolutions of Bloody Mary and the stuff that we used to do in the mirror. You know, you say Bloody Mary 3 times, she appears behind you.
Oh yeah. That was it was a big Catholic thing growing up.
But still, you know, parents were freaked out about that back then. You know, parents are always going to freak out. Apparently,
there's always going to be something that they're going to freak out about, especially when it comes to the internet. There's always going to be something.
Well, yeah, that and books.
Books
and history.
Just
lots of books.
Pretty much anything their kids do.
You know what? I was also thinking. You know that the Irish created Halloween. They were the ones who came up basically.
I mean, that's debatable, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, well, one of their, they celebrated on the 31st.
I mean, I don't know if I'd say Irish. I would say
Ireland.
Groups in Ireland,
sure,
perhaps.
Yes. The pagans.
You
know, with the veil.
But I don't think it was just. Anyway, I don't know enough about the history of it.
But what I thought was cool is you remember in Assassin's Creed Valhalla in the Irish expansion, there was a whole Halloween side quest thing that kind of explained what the origins of Halloween were.
Samhain and stuff, or Samhain, or however you say it.
Yeah. And I thought, I also realized that, trick-or-treating started just to stop kids from being a-holes and doing vandalism and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like,
we growing up, man. I love trick or treating, but every year you'd go outside, and after like an hour, it was just thick with smoke from firecrackers and
toilet paper,
and various
everywhere.
Things just everywhere. Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun. Oh, and the candy bandits.
And pro tip. If you go trick-or-treating, no matter how old you are, you knock on somebody's door, they have to give you candy.
Yeah, they do. Watch out for rainbow fentanyl. That's the brand new satanic panic here.
I'm going to ask specifically for rainbow fentanyl.
I did this before as a public service announcement, but I'm going to do this again because we're right before Halloween.
Right.
That story is as true as Santa Claus.
Yeah. I was going to say as true as the raisin and an apple, but
that happened.
I know.
You're more likely to get a raisin and an apple or struck by lightning than you are. Here's the reasoning.
Urban legend.
Okay? Yeah. This is what idiots don't understand. Drug dealers don't need children as customers because they don't have money.
Yeah.
They're not a regular it's not good for their PR. And it doesn't make any sense to give out. And who's giving out free?
It's not like they just magically create the drugs. They get the drugs from somewhere else, which means they cost them money. They're not going to give it away.
The different colors are just ways for these dealers to differentiate their different kind of stuff. Like, okay, all you guys that watched Breaking Bad, you know how he had his blue meth.
It was how you knew. It's a signature, yeah.
And so they're not going to give your kids drugs. No, nobody's going to drop fentanyl in. They're not going to hide them in Smarties packs and try to trick your kids into becoming fentanyl addicts. It doesn't happen.
You're not going to get free drugs from a drug dealer any more than you're going to get free cheeseburgers from McDonald's.
You're okay. Your kids are going to be okay.
I think the parents that are upset about possibly their kids getting free fentanyl, it's because they're not getting the free fentanyl themselves.
Right. I mean, there's probably a lot of parents out there that are hoping there's going to be a few little fentanyl pills in there.
Don't give it to my kids. Give it to me.
It's just awful. Oh, this isn't Halloween related, but I've been really enjoying Reboot.
Oh, yeah.
The show on Hulu. And I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
I've had my my ups and downs with Paul Reiser.
Oh.
Emmy.
Oh, really?
Reiser deserves an Emmy.
Interesting. Okay.
I love him on this, and I love the show.
Okay.
But he is, I'm a Rise head now.
I knew you. I don't think they say that.
A Risen? A Risen in the sun.
Yeah. That's interesting because I know that the last time I talked to you about it, you had only watched a couple episodes and you weren't sure if it was going to continue to be good. So it's good to know.
No, they made it its own thing. They took the twist that I was talking about, and it's fine. It works really well, and it's not, reductive of Modern Family or anything. Also, I finished watching The Patient with Steve Carell and Domhnall Logue.
Yeah.
Oh, baby, that was great too.
Domhnall Gleeson, not Domhnall Logue.
Oh, what did I say?
Domhnall Logue, which I think you were trying to say Donald Logue, which is definitely not Domhnall Gleeson.
It was subliminal because I miss him. I wish
He's great.
They need to bring back terriers.
He's great. I love him.
Yeah, he pops up on Law and Order SVU.
Oh, nice.
But yes, Domhnall Gleeson.
Son of Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah, who's got a movie that's supposed to be really good. The Banshee of Inisherin. But this is a great show where Carell plays a therapist, and Domhnall plays a serial killer.
Yeah.
And he kidnaps him for therapy, which sounds like a goofy thing.
Yeah.
But it's done really well. Okay. And
these are both on Hulu.
Exactly. Yeah, right? It's like Reboots I work for Hulu. Too, right?
Yeah. That's
like I'm
nothing wrong with that.
But and I got to say, David Alan Grier is amazing in this. It's like he plays a therapist.
No.
And it's an interesting way that he plays a therapist too. I'm not going to give it away. It's not like a spoiler or anything, but it's just interesting because it's an Anyway, it's such a subdued and I want to say like adult performance, which is weird to say because he's always so goofy.
Yeah,
he's one of the most joyfully goofy actors.
Yeah,
and is so great at comedy. But I've always attested that the best dramatic actors are the best comedic actors.
Oh yeah,
and he proves this.
Yeah,
so it's worth watching. It's worth watching because it's a really fun show.
Right.
I think Steve Carell is doing something that he hasn't really done before.
Oh, that's good.
And Domhnall Gleeson, he does a good job because he plays like a real serial killer, not like Buffalo Bill, scary guy skinning people.
Yeah,
he's just an insufferable ass who, it's like he plays it like it would be like
if you met BTK.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you met Jeffrey Dahmer, just
it's like, oh, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, there's something wrong with you, weirdo. But all the episodes are available now, so you can binge it if you want.
Yeah, I think I'll do that.
That was really good. And Little Demon?
Yes.
They just wrapped that up, too.
The cartoon, yeah.
Oh, that was really fun. That was really good,
Another Hulu show. Wow, are you getting paid under the table?
Yeah, Hulu's giving me 16 cents to... no, it's just coincidentally, they had a lot of really good... yeah, I get it. Well, you haven't said anything. No, but yeah, I mean, just coincidentally, those shows have been...
But yeah, that's good. Well, that's good to know then that Hulu has got good quality for their stuff, even though they don't know how to promote anything. But,
yeah, exactly.
That's good though.
Yeah, good movies, good stuff.
I finally started watching House of the Dragon or House of Dragons or whatever.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
We're about halfway through it. I know they just did the finale for it, so I'm curious to see where it goes.
I finished it, and I was talking to our friend V at the show, and V is a big fan.
Oh yeah, huge.
And
has actually thrown not House of Dragon, but Game of Thrones parties at our apartment.
Exactly. Yeah. And they were saying, we were talking about it, and we agreed that it needed one more episode.
Oh, really?
It needed one more episode because there's an episode that concentrates on one character building up to something, and then an episode that concentrates on another character building up to something, and it needed that.
Oh, it never
conflict. Yeah, it just kind of builds up. It's like Empire Strikes Back, it just kind of builds up, and then it's like, there's a lot of great stuff, but it ends with a fizzle rather than
bad.
Yeah, it just needed one more.
Reminds me of that show Carnival. Where it was like literally two separate shows, and you're like, eventually they're going to get together, and then the show got canceled. They never did.
Yes, that was a good show too.
It was a great show.
That's a good spooky show if you want to watch something during.
Good, yeah, Halloween. It's HBO show. It's great. It's really great, but it's really unfortunate because it seemed like it had apparently there was a comic book that tied everything up, like they did a 6-issue comic book series or something that tied everything up. But
good.
I never read it. But they were talking about doing a movie and stuff, but it's just not going to happen.
I checked out the first couple of episodes of the new American Horror Story.
Nice.
It takes place in 81.
In New York City?
1981. Yeah, it's really good. I mean, it's really good. It's just this interesting kind of serial killer / AIDS / 80s, grubby, grimy New York.
Nice.
It's just the vibe and the feel to it is perfect.
Yeah.
And it's another greasy show. I mean, it's greasy.
Yeah.
But it's definitely I 2 episodes. They released the first 2 episodes. I really enjoyed it. I'm looking for it. I'm waiting. I'm excited for the next step.
Nice. I'm still in the middle of watching Frasier. It's my comfort food.
Oh my God.
I know. It actually, I got to be honest, man. That show has some of the most amazing writing in it. Like, I'm really surprised because I was like, how are they going to sustain this? Like, they seem very one-dimensional, and they're not. The characters are very well-rounded, and it's interesting. I think we're about halfway through the 4th season now or something, but it's such a good show.
Well, the genius of that show is Mahoney.
Yes, 100%.
Him being
Excuse me. Yes.
And he's, first of all, one of the best actors ever.
Absolutely fantastic.
And he is a foil to his 2 erudite sons. That's what balances and grounds and puts the show, gives it its heart.
Yeah.
You know? Totally, and if without that, it would just, you're right, it would just be Frasier being Frasier. Yeah. And,
it would be too much.
Exactly, because he was the perfect amount on Cheers. Because he could just leave.
Because he was part of the ensemble.
Yeah. He would just chime in. And he had such a great arc on Cheers, too.
Oh, so good.
Talk about great writing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I need to rewatch Cheers and Frasier. I started rewatching Cheers a while ago, but I need to get
It's good. I'm excited. It was good to go into it because I never watched all of Frasier, but they are talking about doing a reboot, not a reboot, but like coming back to it.
They are doing that.
They are doing, yeah. And unfortunately, John Mahoney passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
But he's so good though, man. Between that on Frasier and then knowing that he was involved with like Ben Stiller and that stuff, which eventually we'll do shows about that. But knowing he was involved in all that stuff, like he's this amazing gem that I don't know enough about that I really need to go see his other stuff and all that.
Theater actor and just a consummate professional, really nice guy. Anything else that you're watching or you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, I watch. You don't watch any reality TV, but I started watching this new season of Hell's Kitchen, which is also kind of my comfort food. It comes on because it's just so awful. I don't want to say I hate watch it because I really enjoy cooking shows.
Sure, but is Gordon Ramsay, right?
Yeah.
And he yells at everybody.
Yeah, and it's funny. I like watching it because Gordon Ramsay, his American persona is not who he is. It is literally a character, and most people don't realize that because the average time that he's had people work for him in real life, they've worked for him an average of like 25 years.
Yeah,
like he keeps them. He finds good people and he holds on to them. And
that's what reality TV does in America. They made Donald Trump a success.
I know.
And looked like he actually knew what he was doing on The Apprentice, and they make him look like a jerk.
Gordon Ramsay did a series of travel shows for the BBC where it was him and 2 buddies just going around like Italy in an RV and stuff.
Screaming at people.
It is so much fun to watch because he laughs so much. And it's like, that's just not who he is on American TV.
Yeah, and I think the climate for bullies is kind of waned.
I agree. Mean, I think for a certain segment of the American audience,
yes. And for a certain amount, it's just jumped up.
Yeah. But there's something that I started watching. I went down a really long YouTube rabbit hole and found out about something that I knew I was always interested in, but didn't have a name for it. And I talked to you about this, but it was the first thing I've been excited about in a long time. But it's about liminal spaces and how, like, when you're at a place and there's nobody there and it seems very odd and weird. There's a couple of video games that do this. Like, Control is one of those where it's this weird kind of, like, everything just seems kind of off.
Right.
And all that. And there's a great show on YouTube called Backrooms about people that fall into these, like, weird giant maze of like office spaces and just wander around and find weird things in them. And it was totally, this guy just started shooting them and did it. I think he's about 100 episodes now or something.
Is this narrative or is this real?
No, it's not. No, I mean, it's narrative. It's not real, but the special effects are done really well. And it was all shot like it was done in the 90s. So it's like bad cameras and all this, but it's very similar to Severance. Severance has that kind of liminal space feel where it's like you go in and it's just something else entirely. There's long mazes, you have to draw maps to figure out where you're going and stuff because they purposely try to confuse you so that you don't know what's going on. But it's just something that I've been exploring more, and I feel like to get on my own soapbox, I feel like this is something that we're in now in our country, is that we're all just kind of waiting for this next thing to happen, whether it be good or bad. Like no one's really kind of being present and just waiting for this I think mostly waiting for the next bad thing to happen, especially since COVID and all this stuff. But it's just weird. I really enjoy exploring society, like sociological kind of thinking, and like how everyone's kind of in the same place without realizing it. And I think liminal spaces is one of those things.
Yeah. I mean, especially too, since we're kind of living in two different realities and two different, it's like...
Yeah. Well, especially here, living in California.
Well, I'm just saying, with being able to tailor your news and tailor everything, there's literally two different realities. And the reality with kids pooping in litter boxes and rainbow fentanyl draining into all your kids' pumpkins.
Addicted to rainbow fentanyl.
It's so, and then, it's just, it's weird.
It's interesting. I don't know. It was nice. It's interesting. It's something I'm going to explore more of and watch more of these weird episodes. I've found a couple free video games that explore this stuff, and it's on Steam or something. So
something's going to happen. You're going to start changing.
I'm going to fall through the world. I'm going to no clip into another world.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Speaking of video games, what are you playing?
I'm actually been playing a Plague Tale: Innocence.
Nice.
Which is an indie game. It's a big indie game, but it is such a beautiful game. It's set in like 13th century France during the plague. You have to... Essentially, it's a puzzle game because you're always trying to figure out how to get around these rats that will literally eat you alive.
That's so gross.
There's great things you can do where they have like alchemy and stuff in it, but you can like throw this stuff that'll attach to like guards, and the rats will come and eat them. And if you wait long enough, the rats will be there for a long time, and then they'll leave, and it's just like bloody bones.
Gross. Cool.
It's done really, really well. There's a sequel to it, or the next chapter or whatever, that just came out that looks pretty good. But it's really interesting, and it's just such a pretty game. It's done so well.
Yeah, it was one of the free ones, wasn't it?
No, I paid for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I bought it. It was on sale. It was on sale a few months ago, and I had been interested in a long time. It was on my wish list. And so I picked it up, and it's good. It's got like 16 chapters, so it's not terribly long, but it's really, and
it's kind of linear.
It's not it's not an open world at all. It's just figuring out how to get past certain things. But you constantly have helpers that you can like tell them to go do stuff. You're essentially most of the game you're taking your little brother around. And you're literally by the hand, and you can make him stay and wait, or you can make him go do things. But it does the escort missions really well.
Oh, can you sacrifice your brother to the rats if they're coming after you?
No, no. But it's really fun. I really am really enjoying it.
Nice. That's Indie Corner.
Yeah,
with Adam. Indie Corner.
Indie Corner. Yes.
I've heard nothing but great stuff about that game, and the sequel. I've heard it just kind of expands upon all the stuff that made the first one really good.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, they did a really good job with the first one. There's a few things that get a little weird. Like at one point, you can come up behind guards and like essentially suffocate them with like it's like sleeping powder or something. And I did it, and it forced me into a fire ring, like a campsite like fire ring, and I literally couldn't get out of it. It was just me running around in a circle inside this tiny ring, and I had to literally turn the game off and restart because it was just like I was like, well, that's a bug they never found.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. Yeah. Well, that's cool. You playing anything else?
Been getting back into GTA.
Yeah, we've been getting on.
There's been some fun stuff. I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, it's been fun. There was a bunch of missions that we kind of missed, so we went and did those and
did all that stuff.
And there's stuff you could do to get free masks. They do a lot of really fun holiday stuff.
Yeah, their holiday stuff is great.
And Halloween, they do a really good job of releasing new masks and like creepy modes and creepy PvP stuff. And there's a thing they're doing this year where they had this thing where like a psycho could come kill you, a clown, or
yeah.
But now the psycho is you. So your little avatar comes after you, a little duplicate, and comes and stabs you to death. Stabby. But yeah, that's been fun. Just kind of getting back on.
Yeah, it's been, it's easy to. I'm always looking for something that I can jump into just for a short amount of time, and GTA Online is definitely that.
Well, it's every game in one. We used to for a long time on Sundays we would do a round of golf in GTA.
Yeah, that's true.
We need to do that
play
again.
Some golf in the morning
because it's got a great golf game.
Yeah,
and it's got a great tennis game, and
it's a good race simulator.
Yeah.
it's really fun. You can do narrative-based story missions. Like you can just go in and do. It's like 100 different games wrapped into one.
Yeah, yeah, and so it's been fun playing that again. I'm still playing Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah,
which is fun.
Eventually we'll get back into it.
But it was on sale, so I picked up the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga.
Nice.
And it's a blast. It's exactly what I needed. It's just, it's funny because nothing's changed. When I was a kid, I had my little Star Wars guys, and I was like, oh, it'd be great if there were Lego Star Wars. And it's just basically, you get to play. It's like you have all the Lego sets, and you just get to play Legos.
You're just recreating the movies.
It's fun. It's got a good shooting system and like an upgrade system, and there's a whole free mode thing. Once you play, you can at any time, anything you've unlocked, you can go back. I'm going to go through all the movies and then
go back.
But the free mode's it's kind of like a mini No Man's Sky type of deal because there's all these side missions and stuff, and there's like 600 minifigure characters. You can unlock or some crazy number, and it's just been fun to play the Star Wars movies through Legos, and it's beautiful too. I mean,
I'm sure
the graphics are great, and it's just, and it's weird because usually with these games, it's mumbling,
right?
But they have like fully voiced actors, and they're good for the it's like they sound enough of like their counterpart to make it, But it's just, I'm up to, I'm on Empire.
Oh, nice.
So I'm about halfway done.
Wow, yeah.
But it's fun. You just kind of zip through, and there's all these big open worlds and stuff. And
I need to finish Lego Undercover, the like GTA type action.
Oh yeah, that was fun too.
I think I got about probably 75% of the way through it, and then I stopped playing for some reason.
Those games are so much fun because they're goofy. They have a great sense of humor.
The humor
good writers,
so good,
and they just capture the fun of Lego. Because Lego's just the best.
It's really good at making fun of the thing that it's set in without being mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's really, because they'll poke fun at like the Star Wars stuff or like the Lego Undercover, like all those free world games. Like they'll poke fun at it.
Yeah.
But they're never being mean. It's like you're in on the joke with them.
Sure, and it's the great thing is, they'll do establishing shots and stuff, and there's always somebody who trips over something. Or, there's always something going on in the background, like a droid, exploding or being, reading a magazine. The great thing is they changed the story around a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, because they've done like 80 different Star Wars games. You got to keep it fresh. Right. But one of the things that was really funny in Empire is, the droid that they send down,
the on Hoth or whatever. Yeah.
And the way they do that is it comes down and then it throws on a hat and has a bunch of pizzas and it tries to disguise itself as a pizza delivery guy. And they're like, oh, pizza's here. And then the hat falls off and they're like, oh, no. But it's like that goofy stuff is really great.
The rumors are that one of the free games for next month for November is the Harry Potter Lego collection.
Ooh.
So we'll see. I'm hoping because it'd be really fun to play through that.
Yeah, you might get Phoebe to play with you with that one. And the Hogwarts Legacy's coming out soon.
Just got an email saying that, hey, you can pre-order it. And I'm like, hey. Like I really want to because it looks so good.
Yeah, but the Cyberpunk...
That was
the last pre-order
away.
I did.
Yep, stay away from the pre-orders. It's not a good idea.
God of War is coming out this month. The God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah,
and
so much fun. God, even just hearing that's coming out again makes me want to play the original again.
Yeah, I got to finish it because I definitely this is, I guess Elden Ring and this are like the two biggest games of the year.
Oh yeah. I have zero interest in Elden Ring. I don't know.
I think I could eventually get into it, but. It's just, it's too, I don't know. I like
the fact that you have to convince yourself to play it makes me think that you shouldn't.
I like the fact that there's so much freedom. It doesn't tell you anything.
Sure.
You just discover stuff.
Okay.
And that explorer part of me sounds really cool, but it's also my FOMO, my video game FOMO, which is horrible.
Strong.
It's that game kill me because I'll be like, well, because you can miss entire sections and stuff if you don't do this, that, and this, and do the and I just don't have the patience.
Sounds horrifying to me.
Figure stuff out. I need a quest log. I need I need a Witcher type of game.
Too open world. Yeah.
Speaking of The Witcher, they just announced that they're doing a 100% remake of the first Witcher game in Unreal Engine 5.
I look forward to my grandkids playing it when it finally comes out.
Yeah, it's going to take a few years. But the rumor is that the PS5 version and the Xbox Series S or X,
I don't know, whatever it is.
Whatever you Xboxers are playing, that the PS5 version is coming out before the end of the year.
Yeah, that'd be good. I'm totally. That's one game that I would totally be down to pre-order if they offer.
I think it might be free upgrade for people who own Witcher 3. Yeah, Witcher 3. Yeah.
Really? Because I feel like they would. Okay, I just assumed they would charge for it, even if it's like $20 or something. I feel like that people would pay for that.
Yeah, no, I think for people that own the game, the
upgrade is free.
The upgrade is free. I mean, don't quote me. I don't work for Project.
Man, I'm going to sue the crap out of you if it's not true, Jim.
But that's something I'm really looking forward to replaying because that's in my top 5 of all time.
Yes, I really want to replay the story. It was really good the first time through. I've only played through once, but like I really would like to play it again. And then if it's upgraded to PS5, even better.
And the best DLC probably of
Hands
any
down.
game ever. Just so good. I've been reading.
Me too, actually. Yeah.
I've been reading
oh my God,
again.
We're going into book corner.
A little bit of the book club.
Nice.
I finished Billy Summers, the Stephen King book, which I really, really enjoyed.
Nice.
It was a very cool, kind of crimey, kind of a little bit of a departure for him.
Right.
But I really dug it. And now I'm almost finished. I'm real close to being done with his latest book, Fairy Tale.
Nice.
Which is great. It is really great. It's hard to. I don't want to say anything because it
don't spoil anything.
I mean, it's basically about a kid taking a dog, this old man's dog, into this fairy tale world to try to reverse time and give it some more years.
Oh wow!
It's like
all
a boy
about
and his
saving
dog.
the dog.
But then it just balloons into this insane adventure, where all this stuff happens to this kid and this 17-year-old kid. And it's just it's got the vibes of like the Talisman and the Dark Tower. It's got those grand adventure vibes. And the stuff that he does so well, which is world building and such a great book. I'm thinking for my next one, John Irving has a new book out. I think it's called The Chairlift.
Nice.
It's 900 pages. And I love John Irving, but he can be a bit verbose sometimes. Maybe my favorite book is A Prayer for Owen Meany.
Nice. Which
is weird because it's all about a guy kind of rediscovering his faith in God.
That is so you. That's 100% you.
Yeah, but that is so funny. But that's just a testimony to how amazing this book is.
Right.
Because it's just there's a bit of Owen Meany in Fairy Tale.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm wondering if this is an homage that King does because I know that these guys know each other.
Right.
They're both New England authors.
Right.
And they're very similar in terms of being Dickensian in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
But Owen Meany, all of his dialogue, because he was this little guy that grew up in a quarry, like a rock quarry, and the dust and everything screwed with his voice so much that it had this really distinct sound. And so all of his dialogue was in all caps.
Oh, wow.
Which gave him a voice. You would create that voice.
Right.
Which made the book so much more engrossing because every time he talked, it was just commanding.
Right.
And so there's a character in Fairy Tale who's deaf, and so all of her dialogue is in bold, and she kind of has an Owen Meany
interesting
little air to her. So I'm wondering if King did that as an homage to.
Well, he's really good at writing dialogue that is very distinctive for characters. He's one of the few authors where you will get a character's voice down and then that's it. And it's like that's it for the rest of the book. Like it's always when that character is speaking. He doesn't have to put, and then Mary said, it's like exactly who it is.
Oh yeah. And his dialogue reads a lot better than it sounds in movies because it's very colloquial, very like maney. And it's
got those bee's knees.
Yeah, and it's got it's got some antiquated things to it.
Sure.
I mean, the guy's what, 80? He's been around the block.
Yeah.
And it's still great, but
of course,
but it works because there's a melody and a lyricism to his writing, and those phrases and phrasings work really well on the page. But it's really hard. It's almost like translating. When you see a play that's made into a film, it doesn't quite work because the stage and film are two different animals.
It doesn't capture.
Yeah, it doesn't translate.
Energy. Yeah,
because they're two different mediums that require two different types of
viewing
art.
Yeah,
100%. I recommend both of these books. He's still on his game.
Yeah,
he is still so on his game.
I think those are up next because I have these last 4 books that you've read. I'm sitting in my room and I'm just waiting to read them.
Another one.
I know. I think this is gonna be my next up because whenever I don't read for a long time, I always pick up a Stephen King book because it's easy to read and they're good and it gets me back into the habit of reading. And I didn't actually do that this time. I actually read The Leftovers, which is really good. Highly recommend it. I do want to watch the show again. But I just finished Psycho, the original Psycho by Robert Bloch, and I'm in the middle. Not the middle. I'm almost done with Psycho 2 because I managed to get Psycho House, which was his 3rd book that I didn't even know existed until a few months ago. That came out in 1990.
Oh wow!
It is sitting from the library, sitting on my nightstand, waiting to be read.
Nice.
But once I get through those, then I think I'm gonna jump back into King.
Yeah, I mean, he's like a scary old blanket.
Yeah.
He's like my pair of haunted overalls. But yeah, I mean, I will always. He is, he and Tolkien.
Yeah.
They sparked my love of reading.
Really interesting.
And because I just love losing myself.
Yeah.
In a big old book. And
yeah.
When I started it, way too young.
Same.
That I don't want his books to end.
Yeah.
I don't want them to end because the adventure is just so much fun. The story is so engrossing. The characters are so I get so attached to his characters.
Right.
And same thing, as I got older, same thing with John Irving.
Yeah.
His character, World According to Garp is an incredibly groundbreaking book for the time in terms of trans women and all these different things. He's a very liberal, interesting guy. I saw an interview. He just did an interview on Sunday Morning, and with his daughter who's trans, and she was saying, she's like, it was the easiest thing in the world to come out to my dad because, he championed it decades before, before I was even born.
Right.
He had already been, and it's just so heartwarming. He writes what he believes, and he writes it well. And if you read his stuff, you're going to question your prejudices.
Cool. That's cool.
And that's something there's no better use of talent than that.
Yeah. That's true. That's very true.
But so that's a reading corner for you.
The old book corner. Yeah. There's a bunch of I mean, I will credit The Leftovers for getting me back into it because it was the first book in a long time that I would make time to sit down and read.
Yeah.
But I did, for some reason during the pandemic, man, I tried to go through all of Stephen King's bibliography, start from the beginning, and I got to about halfway through The Shining, and then I just stopped.
It's hard to focus then. It was hard to. It was a weird time, and I didn't read very much then, even though I had all the time in the world.
Right.
But everything was just kind of off, and it was hard to at least for me. It was just kind of hard to concentrate on anything that was, even video games and stuff that was just like, oh man, I can't pay attention for so long,
Right. Yeah, all the video games I played at that time were very focused and very much like, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing and what I'm going and getting into and stuff.
I ended up watching a ton of just YouTube videos. It's just like little tidbits is all I could kind of concentrate on. So I am kind of glad that spooky season's almost over.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it was with this year, Adam, but every time I went to the grocery store, I would be like, ow, I should get a sack of Snickers for the apartment, or maybe I should get some paydays for the apartment, or I'll get these Baby Ruths. The apartment needs some candies. Right. I'm the apartment.
I was going to say, you brought candy to the apartment?
I put them in the fridge and told you guys about them, but I ate them. But it was just, I'm not a big sweets guy usually.
Yeah.
I have these weird, periods of of ice cream or candy or whatever. But for some reason, I've just been eating fistfuls of mini candy bars, and I probably gained like 7 pounds just from
wow.
some eating chocolate.
Well, it doesn't show, Jim. So
well, I'm wearing a sweatshirt to hide my shame.
I've got my giant parka on.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, I've just been, and Phoebe put out a cauldron of candy.
Yeah.
And last night, I think I ate like 6 or 7 pieces of candies when you guys were taking. I felt like a kid.
Left.
Yeah, I was just like, I kept grabbing like,
no, it's fine. It's just one more. It's fine.
Yeah, like just maybe lollipop's not bad.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I have any teeth left this morning. I think I was going to wake up with everything gone. Do you remember your last Halloween when you were getting like? How old were you when you stopped trick or treating?
I don't know, probably like 13 or 14.
You're going to say probably about 30.
Yeah, well, I think there was a period where I stopped for a while, and then, you get into your teenage years, and then everybody's like, yeah, let's go trick-or-treat again. And so maybe a little bit when I was a teenager, but yeah, I mean, I don't remember the last time that I specifically like went trick-or-treating.
Yeah, it's funny, because it's strange how Halloween transitions from this awesome candy costume, kind of innocent thing as a kid. And then when you're a teenager, then it kind of gets into drinking and destruction and toilet paper and the devil's night type of thing.
Yeah.
And then, as you get older, you try to recapture that youth, by dressing up costumes and going to parties and bobbing for apples and stuff. Did you know that Halloween is the second most expensive holiday in America?
No, I didn't know that.
Behind Christmas? Yeah. People spend so much money on costumes and candy and parties. Yeah. Because, you think about it, Thanksgiving, you buy dinner and that's it.
Yeah.
There's no Thanksgiving presents, and there's no Thanksgiving parties, you know.
Right.
But Halloween's a season now.
Yeah.
So you probably need 2 or 3 different costumes, because you're probably going to, if you have a real life, you're probably going to a few parties.
If you actually get out and participate in things, yeah.
So it's just interesting that we spend so much money to kind of try to recapture that bit where, maybe we should just have an adult trick-or-treating day. You know, where you dress up in maybe it's the first, where adults get to dress up in costumes, and we hand out like little airplane bottles of liquor,
there you go,
cigarette loosies, edibles, and candy,
rainbow fentanyl,
and that's where you get your rainbow fentanyl, people. Full circle.
Yeah.
I went to the movies for the first time since the pandemic.
Oh, yeah, you didn't talk about that and how much you loved it.
Yeah. So a good friend of the show, Jana, she was a guest on the Muppet Show and on the which probably aren't available.
Doesn't exist anymore.
But friend of the show, Jana Weimer, and friend of us.
Yeah.
She is part of this neighborhood program with Universal where they get to do free stuff. Like if they open up a new ride, you get to come ride it for free.
Nice.
And they get to go to not premieres. They do sneak peeks of movies.
It's the Universal Studios keeping the neighborhood happy, so
like
that
the
way
friendship.
They can. It's like, we might be loud and stuff, but we let you have free things.
Greasing the wheel, so in case they burn down half of the neighborhood, they'd be like, remember when we gave you some free popcorn?
Remember when you saw that great George Clooney movie?
So we went to see Ticket to Paradise. We got free popcorn and a free drink.
Oh, nice.
Each.
Oh, nice. I didn't have to share it? No. Yeah.
And talk about scary. It was scary bad. Oh, my God, man. That movie, it was like, it's sad, too, because I really like George Clooney, and I really, really like Julia Roberts.
Together, they should be fantastic.
And the actor who played the daughter, she was great in Booksmart.
Oh, yeah.
I think Olivia Wilde directed that.
Yes, yes.
Which was a really fun movie, and everybody in it was good. And there was a guy that played Julia Roberts' boyfriend, who was hilarious.
Yeah.
And Billy Lord was in it, Carrie Fisher's daughter, who's always hilarious, great in all of the American Horror Story stuff. And she's great, but they had no idea what to do with her. She was just the drunken, comic relief friend who's just basically a punchline. And the problem was, there's a billion problems. But the main problem was, at the beginning of the movie, Julia Roberts and George Clooney hate each other.
Yeah.
And they snipe. And it's not funny. It's not charming. It's just...
Yeah.
It's like hanging out with your divorced parents, which is not fun for anyone.
Yeah, who wants to see that?
And it sucks the charm out of Clooney, which is like, that is amazing.
That's a hard
that a director...
feat, yeah.
And I think the director's name is like Ole Parkin or something. It's like a really weird name.
Weird.
And he how incredible to suck all the charm out of George Clooney.
That's a feat, yeah.
It's like if AI wrote a movie, if you punched into, whatever AI program, George Clooney and Julia Roberts and Fiji, divorced, child, marriage.
Older fourth collaboration. Let's make it as awful as possible.
So sad. And it's just, we kept looking at each other like we should have left an hour ago.
Oh.
And we stuck it out, though. But it just, and the ending, we're like, oh, God, no, don't.
There it is.
Oh, bleh, bleh.
It's always great when the really bad movies go exactly where you don't want them to.
They did one thing, and I'm going to spoil it because this movie's awful. But they did one thing that I did like, because the whole conceit is that their daughter, who's a go-getter and real smart, she graduates from college and she's got a big career coming up. That of course George Clooney he's been pushing her to be a lawyer or whatever.
Right.
He's got his agenda. She goes on a trip to Fiji, falls in love with this local seaweed farmer.
Fijian, yeah.
So she decides she's going to get married. So they have to pretend like they're getting along so they can sabotage the marriage.
Right.
And they try in very cliched, stupid ways. But the thing that I did like is that she got married.
Oh, yeah.
And she didn't I was going to ruin my life. It was like she realized she loved this guy. She loved being on the simple life on this island. And she stayed there. And that I did think was cool. Because any other movie, she would have realized that this doesn't work and blah,
she
blah, blah.
Succumbed to the pressure and not done what her parents wanted. And
well, just realize that, a career is more important than happiness, because that used to be but it was nice to see that put happiness over career or whatever.
That's good.
And then at the end, of course, George Clooney, they're getting on the boat to go back to the mainland. And they decide that they love each other. And and her whole thing is, why wait for the good stuff? Why wait for the good stuff? And so, hand in hand, they get up and they jump off the boat and decide they're going to live on Fiji with their daughter and be and love. And the only one that doesn't get to stay is poor Billy Lord, who just gets thrown away.
Drinks more. And
good Christ. And the one thing that they did, that I'm really glad that they didn't do, that I was positive that they were going to do, is that they were going to somehow hook up Billy Lord and Julia Roberts' ex. So everybody gets some smoochie.
Right.
But at least they weren't gross enough to do that.
Yeah. You realize, though, that you literally didn't spoil anything. Watch the trailer. You know exactly how that movie is.
Well, the only way that this movie is going to be spoiled is if you go see it. Then it's, spoiler alert, you're going to have a horrible time. I mean, it's innocuous. It's something that you could watch on a plane.
It's
a perfect, that's what it is. It's a perfect airplane movie. It's a perfect crappy movie to just distract you.
Slowly fall asleep to.
From the gross feet creeping up on the side of your seat on an airplane.
Oh.
That's the best thing I can say about it.
No.
And I just am bummed because I love the two of them. And when there were moments
when they're good.
When they're working and their charm comes together and they let their chemistry come through. It's like when they are forcing non-chemistry, it doesn't work because they have to be so gross to each other to kind of diffuse that charm or that chemistry. Right. You know, it's just bad directing, bad writing.
That reminds me of the Strangers sequel. Did you ever see the Strangers sequel?
No.
Oh my God, you should find that because it's awful. It's absolutely awful. It was one of the first movies that Phoebe and I saw together in the theater because she loves the original Strangers, like the one that with Liv Tyler and I think Scott Speedman.
Yeah.
Which is a great movie. It's a great like horror movie, a good home invasion movie. The sequel is so bad except for one scene.
Oh.
And it is worth watching the whole movie for that one scene.
Like Jason X and
it was like
sleeping bag.
It was like the director had this idea for the scene and goes, "How am I going to make a movie around this?"
Nice. That's such a shame. And it's probably exactly what it was.
Probably.
You know?
Because the sequel didn't come out for it was like 10 or 15 years after the original. So, I mean, it's like, oh, let's shoehorn this in. And
it's so weird how that happens. Like, there'll be a movie, I think it's all tax write-offs, honestly, because it's like there'll be a movie that did fairly okay, you know, and then there'll be like 8 different sequels that you're like, whoa, they'll like pop up on Netflix or something and be like, 2016, there was a sequel to this, and really?
Yeah.
And then you look at the cast and it's like, oh geez, it's Scott Baio and and Tara Reid. Another great Spooktober, October, with some awesome movies.
Such good movies. I really enjoyed rewatching these movies again.
Yeah, me too.
More so than pretty much anything else we've done so far. Like I really enjoyed getting back into them.
It was like this and the Cusack films for me.
That too.
That have really kind of energized me, I guess. I don't know. But this really got me back into wanting to watch horror films because it gets that feeling of when I was a teenager and saw these movies in the theater and I'm like, whoa, creeps. So I want to get more of that. And there's a few more films I'm going to watch before Monday, and maybe we'll do the new Nightmare tomorrow for casserole night. Happy Halloween, everybody! Have a fun, safe time. Watch out for that rainbow fentanyl in your pumpkins. And we're gonna baby, next month we're doing Who's Zooming Who. Who's Zooming Who? It's all about like
these movies.
Yeah, these are kind of paranoia movies, or movies where it doesn't what's actually going on isn't quite what it seems. So we're going to start with They Live with Rowdy Piper,
so good.
Then a little bit of Arnold for
Total Recall, which has the weirdest, most convoluted development process ever.
Oh,
it is
baby.
Fascinating.
Yes, and such a great. I love it when his eyes are bulging out.
It's gonna be half the episode is just Jim.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to. Yes, it's gonna be interminable. And then, baby, my favorite of favorites. The Thing.
Oh, I'm so excited to watch that again.
Yes, me too. All these movies, I'm really excited.
The last time I saw that actually was on the big screen.
Oh, really?
During a Halloween, probably 10 or 12 years ago. But it was a double feature with Life Force, the Tobe Hooper movie.
That's a good one. I mean,
Tobe Hooper was actually there. He came and talked in between the movies, but because he loved The Thing.
Oh yeah.
About it, but yeah.
Life Force that's the one where the vampire lady just walks around naked for like
90% of the movie.
Yeah. Murdering people.
It is a good movie, despite the fact that it sounds awful.
It was too distracting. I need to watch it as an adult because as a boy, I was just too distracted by the naked lady.
It had space vampires.
I couldn't get past the naked lady. She was like,
she
I was
deserved it. I mean,
too young for that.
I can imagine being 13 watching that. You'd probably have a very skewed view of naked ladies after that.
And vampires.
And space vampires.
Yes. Yeah. But I'm only attracted to space vampires. It's really weird.
And only if they're naked 90% of the time.
Yeah, and they have black eyes.
Anyway, okay, so it's fun. I'm excited about November.
Yeah, happy Halloween, everybody. But they get to see sneak peeks.
They do screenings for them.
Sneak peek. Weep. Sneak peeks. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Charlie's Angels, already in progress.